Hi everyone. I'm going to discuss when it is appropriate to have a conversation with your residents and when it is necessary to fine your floor. A fine will always be given out to the floor when the building service worker, known as the BSW, has to clean up any bodily fluid such as vomit. When the floor, lounge, or bathroom is excessively dirty, it is important to have a floor meeting with your residents to discuss the issue. If it continues to be unreasonably dirty, the BSW will charge the floor. When dishes and silverware are taken from the dining area, the individual floor will be fined for the amount of items taken. It is important to talk to your residents and encourage them not to take Sodexo items. If your bulletin board or door decks are ripped, it is encouraged that you try to find out who did it. If you know who ripped down your bulletin board or damaged a lot of your door decks, make sure that you submit an incident report explaining the situation. If you do not know who did it, talk with your residents and discourage them from damaging future ones. If this is frequent behavior, talk to your supervisor about fining your floor for the damages. Any form of vandalism will be assessed and a fine will be given to the individual who did it, the floor it was on, or the building if it was in a common space. It is important to have a floor meeting and discuss what the vandalism was and if anyone knows who did it. A head staff member will typically be present at the floor meeting in case residents have any questions. It is important to remember not to use fines as a threat against your residents. For example, do not tell your residents that if they violate quiet hours or if they do not show up for a floor meeting, event, or any other program, that they will be given a fine. Here's an example of the do's and don'ts when talking with your residents.
What's up, Janet? It's your RA.
Okay, Luke, come in.
What's up, Janet? How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing pretty well. Hey, listen, we've got a floor meeting going on in a little bit. I just want to see if you have time to swing by.
Oh, I don't think I could. I got a lot of stuff going on.
You know, Janet, you haven't been at the last couple floor
I've
meetings.
been really busy lately.
You know, I don't want to hear it. I think I'm just going to start giving you a fine. $75 every time you don't show up.
What?
Pause! Silly Luke, you can't fine Janet for not coming to a floor meeting or floor program. Instead, you should sit her down and have a conversation about what she could be missing from those events. You also can't fine Janet if she violates quiet hours. You should have another conversation and explain that residents could be sleeping or studying. If she does not comply with the policy, you should write an incident report. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah, I've been really busy. My schedule is really crazy right now.
Yeah, I understand that. I get that. But the floor meetings are very important. It's time to build community and to meet your neighbors and things like that. Plus, I give out a lot of vital information about closing and what's happening on the floor. So I understand at this time, but if you could just make a point to come to the next one, I'd really appreciate it.
I mean, for sure. I'll be at the next one.
All right, awesome. Thanks so much.
Yeah, have a good night.
You too.
So who will turn in a fine request? Typically, the BSW will turn in a fine request when it involves excessively dirty bathrooms, lounges, and any bodily fluid cleanup. Any type of vandalism will be assessed by a facilities plant employee, and a fine will be determined by the damages that occurred. Any frequent damages to the bulletin board or floor decorations will be assessed, and the fine will be determined by a head staff member. After the fine has been processed, the RA will receive a flyer describing what the fine was for, the amount charged, and the date it happened. It is important to always have a conversation with your floor about the incident and the fine amount to prevent future issues. Thank you for taking the time to learn more about the fine and conversation process.